Over the past few years, there have been a number of incredibly draconian anti-abortion legislation passed by state governments, but Texas might have outdone all of them. Not only with the fact that they ban it after just 6 weeks, but also that they attempt to get everyone around you, everyone in your life, to be given a financial incentive to try to go after you. Now, what does that mean? What form does that come in? Well, starting September 1st, the state of Texas is offering a $10,000 bounty to any private citizen willing to sue another person who, in some way, helped make an abortion possible, which is, without any additional context or information, absolute madness. One of the most outrageous things I've seen from the state governments or the federal government in my lifetime. But there is more. So the potential list of targets for such lawsuits is endless. It could be a pregnant person's doctor or nurses. It could be a therapist or pastor who offered moral support, a partner who helped pay for the procedure, a friend, or even an Uber driver who drove the patient to the clinic. It is incredibly vague, incredibly broad, and basically takes a country already filled to the brim with Karens and busybodies and tells you, oh, now you can get paid for trying to stop other people from exercising their constitutional rights. And who knows who will get sued? And who knows what the courts are gonna do with this? All of this seems like an incredibly damaging, invasive gamble that maybe the courts have been made uber conservative enough that they would allow any of this to stand. And I can't say for sure, Viviana, that they're not right. What do you think about all this?
I mean, it's unconstitutional. It goes against HIPAA. How are these people going to find out what is going on with these women? You're going to stalk them? Are you going to tap their phone lines? Are you
hang out outside of clinics? I guess.
Take pictures. Well, yeah, but how do you know if the Uber driver? Drop me off at the Starbucks up the street, and I'll just saunter down on my own. And these clinics offer other procedures, and they offer other. They give out birth control and condoms, and give you STD testing. This is just absolute nonsense, and it is incredibly dangerous, and it is one of the most egregious attacks on women and women's control of their own bodies that we have ever seen come out of Texas. I can't imagine these vigilantes that are going to be born out of this kind of legislation.
Yeah, and the thing is, it doesn't like you're pointing out a lot of the logical issues with this. I mean, how would you know in most cases? But and you're totally right. And so, as an observer, you might think, well, this seems really poorly designed if they can't even answer those simple questions. But no, not really. It's kind of perfectly designed, because think about it. What do you have to do to earn the $10,000? Who could potentially be a target for it? How would you theoretically know? Are people gonna be hesitant to launch one of these? No, they're being given $10,000. But the people who might be hesitant are those who don't know if they might be targeted. So if you're a random woman, how comfortable are you gonna feel doing anything even adjacent to this? Going to a clinic for a reason having to do nothing with abortion. Going for one of the other services that Viviana was talking about. If you're an Uber driver, are you gonna go to the clinic knowing that you might be delivering someone to something that could result in you being sued? If you're a doctor, clearly you're gonna run for the hills from this, or a nurse. And the thing is, the lawsuits don't need to succeed to accomplish their goal. Even if this is eventually struck down by the Supreme Court, women are gonna be terrified, so they're not gonna wanna do it. The clinics are either gonna stop preemptively, or they'll be sued, and whether there's any merit or not, they'll be sued and sued and sued, and they'll be put out of business just from the cost of having to defend themselves. And there might be some activists or organizations that try to step in and help, but they're gonna run out of their resources too, because the anti-abortion people are funded 10 or 100 times over what those who are helping women to exercise their reproductive rights are. All of this is a mess, but it's a mess that at every level benefits those who are trying to infringe on people's rights.
Yeah, you're right. It's perfectly designed. It's perfectly designed, and it's going to do exactly what it intends to do. It's going to keep women from even finding out education about what their options are. I mean, if you're pro-choice, you're supporting whether a woman wants to keep that pregnancy to full term, or whether or not she's not willing to do that or not able to do that. And that takes away all kinds of choice, and it makes it a very dangerous environment. We're going to see women dying from backdoor abortions. We're going to see babies abandoned in dumpsters. We're going to be seeing some really, really horrible things come out of Texas. And that pro-life movement is going to shrug their shoulders and think they're doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm glad that you point that out too, because they of course do think that. To give you an idea though of the morality that this could result in. So we have a group of 370 different Texas attorneys, county attorneys, current and former elected officials, judges, law professors, who are saying this is a big issue. They tried to stop this from being passed. One, Travis County attorney said the bill is so extreme that it could even allow a rapist to sue a doctor for providing care to a sexual assault survivor and the rapist to recover financial damages. And we don't know for sure if that'll actually happen, but based on what the bill says right now, it doesn't seem impossible. And again, it's just a roll of the dice. Will a judge allow a rapist to get money from the woman who they raped?
Yeah.
This is what Texas is setting up.
Or a big part that a lot of people don't talk about is how about an abusive husband who is trying to force this woman to stay in this relationship by continually getting her pregnant and keeping her away from accessing services. I mean, that doesn't stop a husband from suing their own wife for $10,000 and their girlfriend and whoever else they have along the side.
You're gonna have parents suing their daughters?
Yeah. You're gonna sue a pastor? It just
they literally want more lawsuits against religious leaders. That's what they're trying to set up here.
I mean, this is just crazy.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it's also America. And why not do this? I mean, either they actually believe it or it's something like Greg Abbott, in his political aspirations. He thinks he needs to do stuff like this so he can run for president someday, making the country worse so that they can waste their time in office.
Bottom line, anyway. It's so dangerous for women. It's just really, really sad where we're going. And it's a scary time for women and women's health because this is not just in Texas. This is a movement that is getting stronger and stronger across the country.
That's totally true.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.